Right, here we go. We're starting in three, two, one. Welcome, everybody, to Geekvice episode 282, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph, that man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
We are back. We are back, and we are both still alive. That is a plus, and neither one of us are sick either. But we
Yeah,
are,
that's a good thing.
yeah. I'm at least locked in my house, so yeah, kids are out of school. They were on spring break this week anyway, but my work has officially shut down and told us to all work from home. So I've built, you can't see it because it's just off screen, but just over my shoulder is a workstation that I've set up for myself. This one that I'm recording at is actually where my wife works. So she works from home all the time anyway. So she has tons of post-it notes all over this desk. And then if I were to show you mine, it's like perfectly clean because I don't use paper. Everything's all done electronically anymore. So use Bluebeam and PDFs and CAD software and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, so working from home now. I'm still coaching soccer. However, all the sports have been canceled, so we don't have anywhere to play and we can't practice. But the club is still going to try to do some online type stuff. So I've got to try to figure that out and make that work. So that's going to be interesting. That takes some more time. And now found out just yesterday that school has been closed. The governor of Kansas came out and said, I think he said canceled, but they came out with a clarification afterwards. School has not been canceled, it has been closed. So there will be no school buildings open for the rest of the school year.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They're going to try to go to online, digital, and all sorts of good stuff. And
yeah, so which is interesting because found out this morning my son tried to turn his Chromebook on and it doesn't work. So that's his school Chromebooks. We gotta wait till school, at least gotta wait till next week to at least try to figure out how we get a new one or get this one fixed, which is gonna be awesome. And then my youngest one is in second grade and they don't have Chromebooks. So I'm not really sure what we're gonna do there, or how that's gonna work, but I don't know, taking it one step at a time. So now I got a full-time job that is more demanding than ever because it's working from home and it makes things a little harder and a little slower. I'm still a part-time soccer coach and now a full-time teacher, so looking forward to it, I guess. New challenges.
You'll never sleep again.
Yeah, right? And then on top of that, all the other stuff that we want to do. Now it's like, oh, well, originally, before this whole thing hit, we were looking to have somebody come in and paint the trim and paint the couple rooms in our house. And we're like, well, you know what, we don't have the time. We can just pay somebody to do it. Well, now my wife looked at me and goes, well, but now that we don't have soccer practices or soccer games to go to, we have more time. And I'm like, yeah, but now we got to figure out how to teach, what to teach the kids and keep the kids occupied, plus our jobs. She's like, yeah, we could do it. I'm like, okay. So we're going to be painting the house at some point, too.
Yeah.
I at least convinced her that we're not doing the outside of the house. We are definitely paying somebody to paint the outside of the house. So
that I don't blame you.
Yeah, that's just not happening. So
yeah, that's a toughie.
But it does. The one nice thing about all this is it does mean that we get to play. We do have a little bit more time to play some board games, and that means that we've played. Actually, taught my wife how to play Screaming Eagles, which I know I've talked about on the show before. Really old board game. I got it back in the 90s when I was a kid. And it's a like an airplane dogfighting game. Think Top Gun in a board game.
Yeah, I remember that game. I don't know if I ever played it, but I remember when it came out.
Oh, it's so the kids. Amber wanted to play a board game, and she's like, "Hey, kids, pick out a board game. We're gonna have family game night." Like this was Friday last week or whatever, and so Conley picked out Screaming Eagles, and she's like, "I don't know how to play that." He's like, "I'll teach you," and she's like, "Okay, but I'll play it on one condition: she gets to pick out the next game." I'm like, fine, that works. He agrees to it, so we play Screaming Eagles. And the funny part is, Conley picked out this game. Conley was dead within like 2 turns because his brother is. It was we played 2-on-2. It was Conley and Reese against me and Amber. So kids versus adults. Adults won hands down heavily. We knocked Conley out within the first like 3 turns. It was perfect. And then the best part was Reese was starting to make a comeback, starting to chip away at Amber and myself. And then Amber shot him with a long range missile, which are really hard to hit. She hit him, and not only did she hit him, but she rolled on the damage dice, she rolled the perfect 4 1s for a total of 4, which means you hit the cockpit and blow up the plane in one
Damn.
hit. Like, boom! I'm like, oh yeah, there we go. That's how it's done, boys. So that felt good. Kicking the crap out of a 8-year-old and a 10-year-old because that's what should make adults feel good. So yeah, we got that going for us. Oh, and then Amber's game that she picked out was Dicecapades. Have you ever played Dicecapades?
I have not played Dicecapades, but I know what you're talking about.
That game is a lot of fun when you got people around and just the goofiness of it. It's kind of like it's a game with where you have questions and you have to do goofy tasks. Sometimes it's charades, sometimes it's draw a picture and have people guess it, and sometimes it's just as simple as stacking dice on top of each other. But you have a time limit to do it in, and sometimes the dice are, they call them mini dice, and they are about maybe a 16th of an inch cubed, like a 16th of an inch by a 16th of an inch by a 16th of an inch.
Damn.
Yeah, tiny little dice, and you've got to stack 6 of these in 30 seconds. It's
no.
I mean, it's funny watching people try it. It's funny, like it shows the different like abilities of the different people that were playing. So it's just the 4 of us playing, but it's like you can see things like Conley does really good with certain tasks, and I do really good at anything that you have to like hold your hand really still and stack things on top of it. Apparently, having giant mitts for hands works really well for that.
I bet.
I had to stack 6 dice or 9 dice in 3 different stacks. So 3 stacks of 3 on my hand while palm up, holding my hand out. Like, I mean, my hand is gigantic, so that was pretty easy. So that was fun. My wife does really good at charades, and she is really good at charades, at guessing and at acting things out. So that's fun. She's also really good at drawing things too, even though the kids don't seem to get it. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Lots. Of, so
Well,
I'm
sounds like you guys are making the best of it. That's for sure.
Looking forward to some more board games coming this weekend, and especially this weekend because it's supposed to be cold and crappy. But hey, we got that going for us.
Yeah, it's yeah, we're supposed to get some pretty good thunderstorms tomorrow.
Yeah, we are. And it's supposed to drop down in temperatures and all that stuff. So, you been doing anything fun over this last couple weeks? Your trip got canceled. You're supposed to be out of town this week.
Yeah, in fact, we weren't even going to podcast tonight because I would be in Denver. But all non-essential travel has been called off at my job, so I guess my travel was not essential, which I agree with. And yeah, so we'll figure it out another time, I guess.
Yep.
We'll see how long this lasts.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
that
it's not the 18 months that they kept saying today, but we'll
I
see how it
know
goes.
that's the scary part. I know the some of the people that I've talked to, they're looking at, I'm hearing 5 to 6 months is what I'm hearing. So I'm hoping it's even faster than that, but who knows? Who
Yeah. I mean,
knows?
I think for the most part, Americans are doing a really good job of just staying home.
Yeah,
Um, I am so far have not been one of those people because my job is still open, so I go to work.
yeah,
But yeah, I keep waiting for the email to come out telling everybody to stay home. I'm in IT, so we've been working feverishly to make sure everybody can work from home and all that good stuff. Basically, contingency planning and good stuff like that. And
yeah.
yeah, you learn a
Uh,
lot
yeah.
when when the chips are
Yes.
down. You learn a lot.
Yes, you do. Um,
So, but fun wise, a lot of TV, as you can imagine.
yeah.
Haven't really played any board games. Well, I played last week. I don't know if we're going to play tomorrow night. Probably wouldn't be smart to play. But
Yeah, see, that's the hard part is like some of the stuff that we do for fun. I was even thinking like, oh, I want to go see the new Black Widow movie that comes out here in I think this weekend.
nope, they moved it to May 1st.
Did they move it to May 1st? Oh man, I missed that already. So I mean, that's kind of the thing. It's like all these big movies that I wanted to go see. Well, what are they gonna do now? So it sounds like Marvel's idea is to move them back.
Yeah.
That just makes it a bummer because that's one less thing that you can look forward to. It's they're taking all this stuff away, and it's like I'd almost rather see. Honestly, what I'd like to see Marvel do is be like, you know what? All right, well, instead of putting it out on like, instead of putting it out in the theater, or still, I don't know, put it out in the theater, do that in May, but do what they did with Frozen 2. Frozen 2 they put out on Disney Plus and before it came out on DVD. They released it early on Disney Plus kind of because of this. Everyone's stuck at home right now. Like give us some content, some new content we can watch at home. Like where are the if you can't give us a movie like Black Widow on Disney Plus, why can't you like let's get this TV series, whatever TV series you had coming out next, it's got to be getting pretty close. Can we get it out early? Can we get it out now? Could really use some more stuff to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. And me and my wife were talking about this last night. It's like too bad, the movie companies, movie houses aren't working out deals with Disney Plus or Hulu or somebody to do almost like a pay-per-view of
Yeah.
their new upcoming movie. Since you can't go to the theater and they
Yeah.
still have to make money off of these things, I
Right.
would pay, 20 bucks for me and my wife to watch a new movie.
Yeah.
Why the hell not? We're
Yeah.
going to
Right.
burn through everything we like in a short period of time.
Yeah. So we were one of those people that jumped on the Frozen 2 thing. We watched that when it came out. We neither our family hadn't seen it in the theater, so we watched that, and that was um I would say that it was not as good as the first movie, but it's still a decent kids movie. I felt like the ending of the movie was rushed, um, but I also I get a little frustrated, and maybe it's just my jaded nature of it. Like they that especially in the Frozen movies, that death is not finite. If somebody freezes or dies in that movie, they by the end of the movie they come back, except the parents. So
Yeah, if you're a parent in a Disney movie, you're pretty much screwed.
yeah, you don't want to be that guy. But the movie was okay. The kids really liked it. They thought it was a lot of fun. I would say the biggest problem that they had, I felt like every musical number they were trying to make it the next Let It Go. And so there was a lot of musical numbers in the movie that you're just like, I don't know that this was really necessary. Like this did not help the story at all. It was just a way to give this one character more screen time. Um, but hey, it is what it is. It wasn't
It is
terrible.
exactly what it is.
It wasn't terrible, and it was Frozen 2, so it wasn't exactly like I was looking for an Oscar nomination of a movie, but um, it was all right. If you're sitting there not doing anything and you need a movie to watch, it's where you can watch it for free on Disney Plus.
Yes, you could. But
Um,
so I alluded to this show, I don't know, a little over a month ago. The Outsider on HBO.
mm-hmm.
It finally finished first season. So I feel like we can actually talk about it now if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Outsider is based off a Stephen King novel, so you already know it's going to be out there.
Yep.
And this one is completely out there, and it's fantastic. I'm just going to start off the whole thing saying I thought it was great. So the premise is they find this I don't know, he's like 8 or 10 year old boy brutally murdered. I mean, even when they try to describe it, it's so horrific they really can't fully describe what happened to this kid. It's pretty bad. And doing their investigating, they come up with all this evidence, DNA, video, all this stuff. It's this guy named Terry Maitland, played by, um, I hate it when I forget somebody's name.
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman, that's it. Played by Jason Bateman. So they make a public display of arresting him. They do it on the baseball diamond because he's a coach, and the whole town sees it. So basically, um, if he was guilty, great. If he wasn't guilty, the entire town thinks he's guilty anyway. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they start, after hearing his story and everything, they start pasting together what he told them, and then they find all this other evidence, video and whatever, that says he wasn't even in town when this happened. So now they've got a problem. They've got a guy that was in two places at one time. And um, I don't know how much to actually give away here. So it says it on the IMDb page, so I'm going to say it as well. The whole show is based on the Boogeyman. They call him something else. They call it like 5 or 6 different things based on what time period and book they're looking at. But basically, the Boogeyman. And the Boogeyman is a shapeshifter in this show, and he finds I want to say victim, but because really there's two victims in this, the one that the thing actually kills and the one the thing frames for it.
Mm-hmm.
So he finds the framee, scratches him, or somehow gets DNA off of him, and then it takes like 27 days or something for it to morph into that person, and then makes its kill. Does everything to make sure that this person is framed for it, and then moves on and turns into this weird looking thing, and then finds another victim and start this whole cycle. It's like every 27 days. Boom, 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 boom. And of course, nobody's going to believe that that's what's going on because, hey, if your son came home and told you, you know, if he could actually go to school, his all his homework disappeared because the school is haunted and the ghost took all his papers, how likely are you to believe that?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's the same kind of thing. Ben Mendelsohn plays the main detective. If you don't know who Ben Mendelsohn is, you haven't seen the newer Star Wars movies or Ready Player One. He played the bad guy in that. He was also in Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
the head of
Yep.
the Kree.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Kree? Is that who they were?
Was he the Kree or was he the skull? The scrolls.
Scrolls. Sorry.
Scrolls.
Yeah. Yeah, the shapeshifter ones.
Yep.
Speaking of
That's the
shapeshifting,
scrolls.
so
Yes.
yeah, so he's fantastic, of course. There's a cast of characters that you'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen that person in this. I've seen this person in something, but I don't know their name. There's quite a few of those type of actors in there. There's one character in particular. Her name is Holly Gibney in the show, and she's like a combination of autistic and maybe a little bit clairvoyant,
Okay.
maybe a little, almost Rain Manish in certain aspects. Uh, there's one scene where she's with this other cop, and he's like, "How tall are you?" I don't know, and she couldn't answer questions about herself. But he says, "Well, how tall am I?" And she's like, "You're 6 foot 1 3/4 inches." How much do I weigh? And then she'd say like 215 pounds. I mean, she could tell by looking at somebody else everything about him, but she knew
Yeah.
nothing about herself. It was pretty amazing. But loved her character. My favorite character in the entire season was Holly Gibney. Um, I'm not going to give anything away of what happens, but it's just basically she kind of figures it out, but nobody wants to believe her. And then shit just keeps happening. And then finally, some of the people involved are starting to buy into it. But the main detective doesn't really get there till kind of towards the end. And it'll mess with you. It'll mess with your head. What's
Yeah.
going on in the show? It'll piss you off about people as well. The whole um, taking what you see on TV and stuff as just gospel instead of letting things play out or doing your own research kind of thing. Kind of like what we're seeing with the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
People just believe whatever is told to them. This happens in this show. It just shows the sheep mentality of groups of people. I always think of that line in Men in Black. A person is smart. People are dangerous, panicky, and dumb. Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of that in The Outsider. It takes place in Alabama, I think, or Georgia. The scenery there is gorgeous. The places they shoot are fantastic. All the actors did a top notch job. The ending I felt was pretty satisfying and left some things open, which I expected it to do because, you know, you had to come with some sort of closure to end a season on, but you had to have enough to do another season. So they did that pretty well. I'm not going to tell you what happened there, but um, I was disappointed, but I understood the choice they made. but not disappointed enough that it ruined it for me. It was more like, dang, that's too bad. But
Yeah.
okay, I can't wait to see next season.
Very
So,
good.
if you have HBO or access to HBO's TV shows, I highly recommend checking out The Outsider. It's not a ton of episodes.
It's only 10. 10
It's
episodes.
10 episodes. Um, Riveting, every single one of them. And every single one of them, just like when I watched Game of Thrones, it felt like the show was only 20 minutes long and it was actually 45, 55 minutes, something like that. It was amazing how quickly it went by because you're just sucked in.
That's See, this is one that I've wanted to watch and I haven't watched it yet. Um, but it's one now that maybe now that I got a little bit more time, I'll need to grab it and watch it. But yeah, I mean, it looks really good. I like a lot of Stephen King stuff. I've also got. Have you seen Castle Rock on
I have
Amazon?
seen Castle Rock.
Yeah, so I've got that one saved to watch too. I think it's on Hulu.
It
It's on
reminds
one of those.
me the atmosphere a little bit like Castle Rock, just not quite as dark as the first season of Castle Rock,
Gotcha.
but it's got that same melancholy. Um, on Everybody's kind of melancholy, but as a watcher, you're on the edge of your seat because you just know something's going to go down. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know what it is. You don't know what they're going to find or uncover, and it's like I said, sucks you in. And the next
Right
thing you
on.
know, the episode's over, and you're like, "Holy cow, how's that already over?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know. It looks really good. I've heard lots of good things about it. I need to watch it, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, recommend it. I would watch that if I was you.
Very good. I will add it to my list. Put it at the top. I also trying to get through a couple other shows. Trying to get through The Hunters on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, that's on our list. We haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm looking
I'm
forward to it.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through that one. But really, what's happened is my wife and I started watching stuff on Hulu because we have Hulu Live now, and we were just looking for we we were watching Deadliest Catch because that was a show that we really enjoyed when it first came out, and then when we didn't have TV anymore, we didn't have a way to watch Discovery, and it was a show that I wasn't going to download and try to get that way. So now that we have Hulu Live, Deadliest Catch is back on there, so we started watching and we went back and watched the last couple seasons of it and got caught up to where we were caught up and nothing left to watch, and so we're like, well, we need to find something else, and so she ran across this show called Swamp People. Have you seen Swamp People?
Sadly, yes.
It's got 11 seasons out. It's in its 11th season right now. And they actually created a spin-off of it too. I gotta say this, I'm not big. I don't like reality TV show. I don't like Duck Dynasty. I thought that was terrible. I don't like watching drama. That's one of the things that I don't like about Deadliest Catch is how much drama is there. But when you're stuck on a boat with somebody for months and months, there's gonna be that drama there. So
Yeah.
I get that, and that's just part of the experience. Okay, they don't take a lot of it. They've gone less and less with the stuff that happens off of the boats, and it's really just about the boats. So that works for me. But Swamp People does an incredible job of leaving the drama out, and it's just about catching gigantic alligators. And to me, it is fascinating. It is fascinating how they do it. It is fascinating watching these people, watching them do it, knowing where, like, it's the idea of this hunting them. So the they talk about it. Well, the opening credits of this show it says that this is based off of, you know, hunting that has been going on for the last 300 years, and it's hunting is at its core, and that's really what it is. It's not. These guys are not game hunters. These are not. They're not doing this. They do it kind of to make a living, but they even talk about in some of the episodes how little people pay for alligator skins anymore because they have alligator farms that are raising alligators specifically for their skins to make boots and things like that off of them. So these guys are hunting alligators. They're getting paid for it, but they're also doing it because of the safety aspect. If an alligator gets, I mean, these things, some of these alligators that are catching are 10, 11, 12 feet long, some, weighing anywhere from 500 to 700 pounds. Like, these are alligators that they talk about. They're like, these are swimming in areas that people are swimming in. They're jumping off of docks and swimming in these rivers, and there's alligators that might be 100 feet away from them that are big enough to just grab a kid, pull it underwater, and you're never going to see that kid again. And so they're hunting these alligators to basically remove the gigantic ones, the ones that have gotten to the point where they're too big, too dangerous, removing them from the population so that, not to deplete the alligators and not to make them extinct, but to reduce their numbers the same way we hunt deer, the same way we hunt all kinds of different things. And so I think it's incredible watching these guys and seeing the different ways at which they're trying to hunt them, the different ways that they're trying to how they go about and figure out where these things are at. I'd love to have some more behind the scenes on them knowing, like, okay, we know that there's a lot of alligators here and this is why, because we've tracked out and we found this and we found this, and get some more information on it. But um, it's really really incredible on kind of how they do it, and I got sucked in, and it's yeah. So we've watched. We didn't go back to the beginning. We haven't watched from the first season, but we've watched seasons. Almost finished season 10, and we finished season 11. We're kind of going backwards. Season 11 is their current season, and now we're going backwards. We're watching season 10. We're almost done with that one. And after that, we'll probably go back to season 9. But um, really, really interesting because a lot of these times, they're usually hunting in pairs. So they're on a boat hunting alligators on a boat,
Right.
and they catch these alligators by setting lines up that have, some food or meat on them hanging above the water. The alligator will come up and eat it, but they're not catching these alligators like as soon as they do it. They're not sitting there waiting for them and then hooking them that way. No, they wait for the alligator to come up, grab it, basically digest it and swallow the hook, so that when they're going and like bringing this thing in, they don't have a line, they're not using a winch or anything like that. They're grabbing a rope with their hands and pulling a 600-pound alligator up to the side of the boat and then shooting it to kill it.
Damn.
and and to kill it, they basically have one shot that they can make, and it's a quarter size spot on the top of the alligator's head. That's the softest spot. That's the only kill spot on an alligator. They even make the comment that if you miss that spot, the bullet could actually ricochet off and hit other people. It's like, this is incredible. Um, it is just. I mean, I am enjoying it probably way too much, but it is. I highly recommend it if you're looking for stuff to watch. It's it is really, really interesting watching these guys do it. So they basically in the show there's three main ways of catching the alligators. One is the bait and hook, like I said there. The other one is they're driving their boats around looking for signs of alligators. It's usually the methane bubbles coming up out of the because alligators can sit underwater for so long. You basically try to pick a spot where they're at, see these bubbles coming up, and you throw a like an oversized treble hook basically out into the water, let it sink to the bottom, and then you start pulling this rope in with this hook on the end of it, dragging it across the bottom. And as soon as you get to the alligator, you yank it as hard as you can to try to hook the alligator, and then pull the alligator in. I mean,
Man, my hands
these
would be destroyed.
right? And like there is, you get some episodes where you get a guy out there who's been doing it for a while and he might have a rookie guy on his boat. Well, the rookie guy is the guy that's pulling it in. The experienced guy is the guy with the gun because he's like, I already did that whole pulling it in thing. I'm not doing that. And so you'll see these guys like take the rope and wrap it around their hand, and the experienced guy looks at him and goes, "Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that." And the guy's doing it, and then all of a sudden that alligator starts to pull it, and that guy's arm gets jerked out, and he's like quickly lets go of the rope. Like, yeah, if you wrap it around your hand, two things gonna happen. One, you're either gonna go over the boat, or two, you're not gonna have a hand left, because the alligator's gonna pull so hard that rope's gonna just slice off your fingers.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's just, I mean, just nuts. And then the third way that they've started doing, like I didn't see it much early, but I've seen it more in the last couple seasons that we've watched, is that they they actually snipe these alligators. So they're sitting on a boat and they'll see an alligator up like with just his head out of the water, and they will position that boat far enough away and in the right angle, they will actually lay down on the boat with a rifle and pick these alligators off. I mean, that's got to be an incredible shot. I mean, you're talking about hitting a quarter from quite a ways away. I mean, it's hard to tell on TV how actual far away they are, but I mean, alligators aren't going to sit above the water with your boat sitting there moving around if you're close. You've got to, you got to be pretty far away.
Yeah, you got to be a good distance away. They'll get spooked.
Yeah. So it's just incredible. And then if they hit the alligator when they're doing that, then they have to quickly speed the boat over to it, because once you hit the alligator, the air leaves the alligator and it starts sinking. So their alligators are not buoyant. They sink. So a
Oh, I
dead
didn't know that.
yeah, I didn't know that either. I figured it would just be like, a dead body. It would float to the top. Nope, maybe eventually, but they have to get to it quickly, and so they have to get up to it quick, and then they're throwing the hooks out there trying to catch it, because by the time they get the boat there, it's already starting to go down. So they got to try to find it, hook it, bring it back up, and so one of the episodes I was watching right before it came down here, this guy sniped it, and he thought he had killed it. He knew he hit it, but he thought he had killed it. And then they get up to it and they hook it and bring it up to the boat. That thing wasn't dead yet. So it started fighting back once it got up to the boat. He basically just knocked it out. And then once it got to the
It
boat,
wasn't dead. It was just pissed.
yeah, it came to, and then all of a sudden he's like, I don't have my gun, because he's holding the rope, and he's like, I don't have my gun, and so they quickly try to trade places. He goes to grab his gun to shoot him, and it doesn't have any bullets in it, because he'd already used them all. He's got to reload, so now this guy's got to sit there and hold this alligator while he's quickly trying to reload a rifle. Like, oh man.
That's exactly how I play video games. It's
right?
amazing.
Yeah. It is a lot of fun. I know it's a little crazy, and it's a reality show ish, but it is really fun to watch. I highly recommend it. Swamp People. It's on History Channel. You can find it on Hulu Live. They've got all 11 seasons on there. So
So, is
you
there anybody on the show that you end up hating so much you root for the alligator?
no, no, actually no.
That's good.
I, and that's the thing. These guys are not like there is no drama about these guys. One of the guys that's actually the coolest guy, and I found out that he's actually as when I went and started doing some research, he he's been on the show all 11 seasons. His name's Troy Landry, and he is actually known as King of the Swamps. And that is not a title the show gave him. He is literally known by everyone in his swamp area. Like he is known as the guy. If you need something, he's always there to help you out. And so he even talks about it in the show. He gets phone calls during like because you can only hunt alligators for 1 month. He will get calls leading up to the alligator hunting season with, hey, we've saw this big alligator in this area, we've saw this guy in this area. Like he is basically the guy people go to get rid of these alligators that are too big and too scary. And so but you listen to this guy talk. One, he talks with that Louisiana Cajun swamp accent, so much so that they put subtitles on the show when pretty much
He
every
probably
one of
sounds
these,
like the golden side of my family then.
yeah, the pretty much anyone on there that talks, they've got subtitles for them. But it like this guy, he is like the nicest guy. He seems like the most down to earth guy. He just seems like a good old boy that, you know, if you needed help, he'd drop everything that he was doing to come help you. That's what he seems like. And from what I've read,
Could
that
you
is,
imagine just sitting down and having a bunch of beers with that guy and just listen to
yeah.
his stories?
Oh man, yes. And he's got two sons that are on the show that, do this stuff too, and it is just crazy. And so he's in the spin-off that they're doing for this, and the spin-off only has one episode that's come out. The next episode comes out tomorrow, I believe. But it is called Swamp People Serpent Attack?
Serpent attacks.
Serpent something. Hold on. I gotta look it up now. Swamp People Serpent Invasion. That's what it's called. Serpent Invasion.
I like the sound of that.
So this
Especially since
is
it doesn't happen anywhere near me.
no, it's all down in Louisiana. But what's happened is some Burmese pythons have been released in the swamp, and they've started breeding. So now there's these giant Burmese pythons, that are starting to, they don't have a natural predator in the swamp. So they're starting to become a problem. And so these alligator hunters are now switching to, they've brought in a few other people to help them, and that are expert snake hunters, and they are going after these snakes. However, they are not killing them. They are catching them alive. I don't know what they're doing with them. I'm assuming
that's interesting.
I'm assuming they're giving them to somebody, but they're not sitting back and like shooting these things from a distance. Nope. They're getting their attention. They're getting the snake's attention one way, coming up behind it and grabbing it by the head, or sometimes grabbing it by the tail and stretching it out long enough so that someone can grab its head. It's freaking,
no thanks.
Yeah, freaking nuts. And then when they catch it, they don't kill it. They put it in a bag. They put it in a pillowcase and tie the pillowcase. So they are catching these snakes and keeping them alive. I don't know why, but they are, and it's crazy. It's just flat out crazy. And especially because a lot of the times when they've got to hunt for these things, just like with alligators, they're restricted on when they can catch them. So they can only catch them from sunrise to sunset within the 30 days that the season's open. You're not allowed to hunt alligators at night. But with the
And the season's only 30 days,
it's
huh?
only 30 days. But with the snakes, because they are an invasive species and because they are not like this is not like hunting them like in the same way that they are alligators. This is actually like the snakes are an endanger to the ecosystem. Like they can hunt them whenever they want, like day or night. And I guess the snakes are most active at night. So these guys are going out with headlamps on, and there's 5 of them walking around in the swamp. And they even make the comment, like in the first episode, one guy gets lost. Like there's 6 of them, and at one point there's only 5 of them. They're looking around, going, "Where's Jacob? Where'd Jake go?" And they are walking around. They stop hunting for snakes, and now they're walking around like looking for Jake, and they're yelling for him. And they get to the point where they're like, "We've got to go back to camp. I'll call people from the base. Like when we get back to base camp, I got a hand radio. I'll call in some help. We'll get back out here. We have to find him because I mean, there's panthers, there's these snakes, there's alligators. There are all kinds of things out in the swamp that could kill you if you stay out there. If you're by yourself."
Yeah.
And so they're like, we got to go back, get help, and go find him. So they get back in their 4-wheeler, basically this big giant like swamp tank, drive it back to the camp, and there's Jacob sitting at the base camp's fire, like saying, "Hey guys," and they're like, "How'd you get back here?" He's like, "Honestly," he's like, I didn't hear like." I found one snake, and then I caught it, and then I saw another one, and I chased that one and caught that one. And he's like, next thing I know, like I can't hear you guys. He's like, well, I knew how to get back to camp, and I'm like, eventually they're gonna have to come back to camp. So he just came back to camp. Like, oh man, like my wife and I are sitting there watching this, going, dude, this like first episode, they're gonna have a guy dead in the first episode. That's crazy. Like, no, it was. I mean,
Well, at least he was smart enough to realize there's one place I know for sure they'll end up, and he
yeah,
went there
yeah, yeah. So
instead of
I'm,
wandering around looking for them, getting worse off.
yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So guys, go check out Swamp People. It is way more fun to watch than you think, and it is nothing like Duck Dynasty or um, or anything like that. This is actually about hunting, about catching these things and doing it for the betterment, not to make millions of dollars, but uh, to basically protect the environment, the ecosystem, and the people
Yeah, thin the
living in
herd
it.
out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, a whole lot different of an approach than most of your shows like this. So,
Yeah, that's not what I expected you to say about it at all.
yeah, it's definitely worth watching. If nothing else, it's just worth the like when you run out of something else to watch or you need a palate cleanser before you watch your next show. Just pick it up, watch a couple episodes, and see what you think.
Palate cleanser. I don't know if I've ever heard a TV show called a palate cleanser before, but I like it.
This one's one of those where you don't have to watch every episode. You could just come in and pick up an episode and watch one. It's not like it really carries over. It doesn't go from drama from one episode to the next. It doesn't matter. You just watch one and enjoy it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, maybe one night when I'm drunk and have control of the TV,
yeah, exactly. Or
which
or
is
you just
very often.
yeah, or you just flip it on and just be like, Holly, let's just skip wrestling once and let's watch something that doesn't have any drama in it.
She hadn't watched wrestling in a long time,
Oh
to be
man,
honest.
that surprises me. surprises me.
Yeah, yeah. She's disappointed in the direction they were going, so she stopped watching.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. All right. Well, I think that's it calls it for an episode. You got anything else you want to throw out there, Mr. Kip?
No, I'm just curious to see how long it's going to take before I have to start working from home.
Yeah, well, if you start working from home, then maybe we could start recording at different times too. So,
Yeah, do
who
our lunch
knows?
breaks or something.
Yeah, right. So, all right, guys, you know how this works. Go check out the blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/geekvice. You can follow that man over there at Kip Killigan. You can follow me at Geekvice. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go search for Kip Morph. You'll find us. We're the only Kip Morph out there, and you can see all of our past episodes. If you want to see what we look like, you can find us on there. You can follow that guy over there on Instagram too. He's our Instagram guy at Geekvice.
Yeah, if you want
So
to see pictures of board games, that's where you go.
that's right. That's right. I'm on Instagram now, but I'm just myself, just Aaron Lammers. If you want to find me, I don't have nearly as good a stuff, but I follow Geekvice so that I can see board game pictures. Yeah, and of course, as always, you can reach us by email at geekvice@gmail.com. Thanks everyone for listening to our ramblings, and we will see you next time.
Later.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.